Credit Suisse chief economist Hiromichi Shirakawa spent 16 years at the Bank of Japan. He joins us now in Tokyo. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Kan's comments sent the yen lower. Investors took that, I guess, as an indication the government may intervene in the currency markets. Going forward, though, do you think that there will be any delivery on that? Do you expect the Finance Ministry and the Bank of Japan to do anything concrete concerning a strong yen?
Well, I think the BOJ and the government have had a view that the yen appreciating above 85 is not welcome. But on the other hand, I don't think that Japan is intervening in the markets and manipulating the currency down to 100, for example. So I do think that the intervention to weaken the yen seems too unlikely.
Now, Naoto Kan's got a bit of a reputation for shouting at bureaucrats. The BOJ is independent. How's he going to get on with them, do you think?
Well, I think that Mr. Kan, compared with the former Finance Minister Fuji, I tend to think that he is putting more pressure on the BOJ to maintain easy monetary policy for longer. And that may have some implication on the currency. And in that sense, I think the Kan is more powerful in terms of the political pressure. So he seems to be in favor of indirect implication for the currency through BOJ's easy monetary policy.
Kan's predecessor, Hirohisa Fuji, resisted calls for yen intervention. He actually said that a strong yen may be good for the domestic economy. He was also very clear new bond sales next fiscal year will be no more than this year. But Kan says he needs to find money to fund the manifesto pledges. He says fiscal discipline will be difficult. Are we going to jump back 10 years to the days of market intervention and debt-fueled public works again?
Well, I think my biggest concern relates to Mr. Kan is that he seems to be much more complacent with the risk of the, Japan's fiscal problem, exacerbating from here. He seems to be more Keynesian type of a politician, favors a demand stimulus, but I don't think Japan's fiscal situation allows demand stimulus from here. I tend to think that Fuji's stance was right to continue to, put some, limits on debt printing. So that is the biggest concern for us.
Now, the DPJ won the election August 30th. Kan said yesterday it's going to take at least 4 more months to come up with mid-term financial policy, and the government doesn't have a good track record so far for decisive policies. What's it likely to come up with in the next few months, and is this going to be enough to stop a double-dip recession?
Well, I tend to think that double-dip recession will be avoided even without another fiscal stimulus, mainly because of the global output recovery is likely to continue for some time, and Japanese exports would benefit. So in my understanding, I think the government will limit their fiscal spending from here. But my point is, I think Mr. Kan may favor further stimulus before the election. That might probably push up Japanese long-term interest rates and the currency as well, and more confusion to the markets, I think.
Kan says that he doesn't want to raise consumption tax. However, the policy minister, Sengoku-san, hinted that he does. With these apparent divisions in the cabinet, can we expect any form of cohesive policy coming out?
Well, I think the consumption rate hike remains a very controversial policy. I think the arguments right now in Japan. I tend to think that the current DPJ stance is to delay consumption tax hike into 2013 or 14. So I think the Sengoku-san's comment seems to be a bit against the DPJ's basic stance, and I think the Kan is just following the DPJ's stance.
The Prime Minister in Naoto Kan has brought in one of his close allies, and maybe a signal that he wants to sort of end divisions, maybe push out the coalition partners, in particular the Financial Services Minister, Shizuka Kame. What are your views on that? Are we going to see more focus on the core DPJ?
Well, I think that I don't have any strong view about this, but in my understanding, Mr. Kan is not necessarily very close to a prime minister. So I do not have any strong view about this, but I think the point is coalition may continue for some time. As Mr. Ozawa already mentioned that even after the election in summer, they're going to maintain coalition with, Kame-san's party. So not a big change in terms of the political setting in Japan.
So we're going to have to wait until at least the upper house elections in July. Shirakawa-san,
Sure.
thanks very much.